morning, Westuma gardeners. I'm Miss Belinda and I'm a master gardener. Last month when we filmed, we talked about lasagna composting and composted all the garden boxes at Westuma School with lasagna composting. The garden boxes are going to be resting this winter and should be ready to plant in the spring when students hopefully come back. This morning, we're not in the garden. We're at the Master Gardener office because it was easier for us to get together. We're going to be telling you about 5 kinds of oaks and showing you leaves and acorns and bark of the different kinds of oaks. The first kind of oak I'm going to tell you about is a blue oak, and it is called a blue oak because the top side of the leaves have a waxy coating to keep them from drying out, and it makes the leaves look blue. The blue oak is closely related to a valley oak, and you can tell that it's related to the valley oak because the acorns have warty, pebbly caps to them. And they're smaller than a valley oak. So the acorns of a blue oak are about 1.5 inches long. They were used as food for Native Americans, and they're food for animals also. The Native Americans shelled them and dried them, pounded them, and then leached out the tannic acids and then made them into flour. The acorns were also used as medicines and dyes in games and in toys. I'm going to come back and talk about the leaves now. The edges can be toothed or they can be wavy. It depends on the tree and even the branch that they grow on. This is the bark of a blue oak tree, and it looks kind of whitish compared to like a live oak or a black oak. And in the mature tree, it has the long fissures that divide the bark. Blue oak is the common name given to this kind of tree because it has the blue waxy coloring on the top. The trees are usually smaller. They're 20 to 60 feet tall. The tallest one can be over 90 feet, but that's still a smaller oak than the valley oak, which it's related to. The diameter of a mature tree, which is the distance across, is 1 to 2 feet. They're long-lived. They live 175 years, up to 450 years old. The blue oak grows in the low valley foothills, just above the valley floor, and it grows on hot, dry sites with rocky soils. It can't compete with other oaks on better soils. It grows with valley oaks at lower elevations and live oaks at higher elevations. It can tolerate grass fires, but it sometimes is killed by hot brush fires. One thing I want to show you about blue oaks is that they have galls that are made by tiny wasps, and the wasps lay their eggs inside of the oak branch. This one's a little round gall that's on a twig, and the larvae develop inside of the twigs and then come out when they change into adults. The other kind that I could find, this is also a gall. It looks like a tiny green or a tiny red sea urchin, and it grows on the leaves. They're laid by a different kind of wasp, but the wasp lays its egg inside the leaf, and it stimulates the leaves to make growths that look like these little red sea urchins. Okay, let's see what a valley oak looks like. So,
A valley oak has these loby leaves, and it has these little V's in it. And that's one way of remembering what a valley oak looks like. The V in valley is also the V in the leaves. Okay? And it's green and shiny on the top, but it tends to be more grayish, a little grayish tint on the back of the leaves. The acorns are very long and slender, and they actually even have kind of a V shape to them too. So a V for the acorns also on valley oaks. And the caps are very warty and textured. Another thing that you have on valley oaks is you can find what are called apple galls. These are actually a home for the wasps to grow in. So the wasp will leave a bit of chemical on the tree which will grow into this gall, and you can actually open it up before it hatches, and you will find inside a little hard kernel with a small larva inside of this. Valley oaks are the largest oaks in Northern California. They grow up to 120 feet tall, and they live 200 to 250 years, so they're a long growing plant. This is the bark of the valley oak, and notice it's very, very thick, and it's got deep, deep furrows going down in the bark.